We've all been told the customer is always right. But what if that's not just wrong? What if it's actually bad advice? What if some of your customers are secretly draining your time, your energy, and even your profits? And what if the real secret to growth isn't about getting more customers, but about strategically firing the wrong ones? Well, let's get into it because today we're breaking down a tool that does exactly that. Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll tackle that big question: are all customers equal? Then I'll introduce you to the ABC drop matrix. We'll walk through how to build it and, more importantly, how to actually read it. From there, it's all about your action plan, and we'll finish up by looking at how you can take this powerful mindset and apply it pretty much anywhere. All right, let's start with a question that I think every single business owner has asked themselves at some point. I want you to really think about this for a second. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? You've got customers who are just a dream to work with. And then you've got the others, the ones that make your heart sink a little when their name pops up. Are they all really giving you the same value? The honest answer is almost always a hard no. I mean, look at this. It's like a tale of two completely different worlds. On one side, you have your ideal customer. They spend a lot, they trust you, they pay their bills, and they even send new business your way. Then you've got the other type. They barely spend anything, they're always late with payments, they question everything, and they're constantly looking for a discount. These two aren't just different, they require completely different strategies. And this isn't some newfangled idea. The legendary W. Edwards Deming hit the nail on the head decades ago. Real, long-term profit doesn't come from one-off sales to difficult people. It comes from building a tribe of happy customers who become your biggest fans. Okay, so if we agree that some customers are amazing and others are, well, a drain, how do we figure out who's who in a systematic way? How do we move from a gut feeling to an actual strategy? That is exactly what this tool is for. Meet the ABC Drop Matrix. It's a brilliantly simple tool that gets your whole team on the same page. It forces you to look at every single customer through two critical lenses. First, the hard numbers. What's their annual spend? And second, the softer but just as important factor, what's the quality of the relationship like? And you should know, this isn't something that was just cooked up yesterday. It was developed by a seasoned business consultant, Stephen Wood. This is a central idea in his book, Practical Tools to Grow Your Business, and you can see this way of thinking woven into his other work too. The point is, this is a battle-tested framework that gets results. Now, the best part about this whole thing is how ridiculously practical it is. You don't need a team of analysts or some complicated software. It's a simple, three-step process that you and your team can literally start working on this afternoon. So here it is. Step 1, you rank all your customers by how much they spend, purely quantitative. Step 2, you rate the actual relationship with them. This is the qualitative part. And step 3, you just plot all that data onto the matrix. That's it. Simple, right? So let's quickly break down that data gathering. For spending, you just pull the numbers from the last year and bucket everyone into high, medium, or low. Easy enough. But then comes the crucial part. You get your team together for an honest conversation and you rate each client. Are they easy, average, or hard to deal with? Seriously, don't skip this part. That honest assessment is where the real insights come from. All right, the work is done. You've plotted all your customers on the matrix. You now have this incredible visual snapshot of your entire business. Now comes the fun part, turning this picture into a powerful strategy. So let's start at the very top with your A-class customers. These folks are the absolute champions, the MVPs of your business. Your A-class customers are either big spenders, an absolute joy to work with, or ideally, both. They're basically partners. And your strategy for them is simple: proactive love. The biggest mistake you can possibly make is to take these people for granted. You should be constantly thinking of ways to make them feel special, and more importantly, finding ways to help their business succeed. Next up is a very, very dangerous group, your B-class customers. On paper, they look fantastic, but they represent a massive hidden risk to your business. See, your B-class customers spend a lot of money, but the relationship is difficult and purely transactional. That means they have absolutely zero loyalty to you. The second a competitor comes along with a slightly better price, poof, they're gone, and a huge chunk of your revenue just walked out the door. The strategy here is all about risk mitigation. You have to invest time to turn that transaction into a real relationship. All right, let's talk about your C-class customers. Think of these as the steady, reliable bread and butter of your business. C-class folks are your solid citizens. Decent spend, pretty good relationship. They keep the lights on. But the key word here is potential. There's so much room for growth. Your strategy is to get creative. Proactively find ways to improve the relationship and offer them new solutions. The goal is to nurture these C's so they eventually become your next A's. And finally, we have the D class. And look, there's no way to sugarcoat this. These customers are a drain on your business. Full stop. D-class customers spend very little, and they're a nightmare to deal with. They eat up so much of your team's time and emotional energy. In fact, if you really did the math, you'd probably find you're losing money on them. The strategy here is a clear two-step process. First, you raise their prices significantly to reflect the true cost of service. If they stay, great, they're profitable now. If they leave, well, that's a win-win, isn't it? So understanding these segments is one thing, but insight without action is useless. So let's boil all of this down into a super clear action plan. And remember, this is the guiding principle for everything you do. With the exception of your D-class, the primary goal is always to build the relationship first. A stronger relationship is the foundation that all future growth is built on. So here it is in a nutshell. You're going to nurture and grow your A's. You're going to get to know your B's and C's better to make those relationships easier. And you're going to manage your D's up or out. This isn't just cleaning house. It's about focusing your team's precious, finite energy where it will make the biggest impact. But you know what? This idea of strategically focusing your energy, it's so much bigger than just your customer list. You can apply this exact same mindset to almost any goal you're trying to achieve in your life. Taking the time to build a tool like the ABC Drop Matrix is the perfect example of working on your business instead of just being trapped in the day-to-day rat race. It's about taking a step back to be strategic. This is the same kind of thinking behind other powerful frameworks, like the Rocket Model, which is all about targeting your best opportunities so you can really take off. But listen, a beautiful strategy is just a piece of paper if you don't execute on it. Whether it's in business or your personal life, a structured process like this only works if you're consistent. That consistency is what will keep your head clear and keep you moving forward when things inevitably get tough. So, let's bring this all back to you. Think about your business, your career, your personal goals. Where are your A-class opportunities that you need to pour more energy into? And, maybe more importantly, what are the D-class distractions that are sucking your time and giving you nothing back? When you make a conscious plan to focus on what matters, you create incredible value, not just for you, but for everyone around you. So the only real question left is, what's your first step?